Alright, so the Eagles are looking scary after they just dominated the Cowboys in what was their 5th straight win, and the defense in particular made a statement as they shut down the Cowboys offense while linebacker Zack Baun led a run of forced turnovers in what was the defense's best performance of the season. And if they can keep playing like this, then the entire NFL should be afraid. Meanwhile, despite some struggles, the Eagles offense looked good as well as Jalen Hurts and company responded to adversity on their way to another solid game and an NFC East division lead. So we're going to talk about that and everything else from the Birds win over the boys starting right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And man, did that one feel good, as the Birds just did something that they haven't done in a very long time, as not only did they just beat the hated Dallas Cowboys, but it was the first time they've won in Dallas since 2017, and they did it in convincing fashion, as the Birds played some great complimentary football and really dominated the Cowboys on both sides of the ball in this one, as offensively, despite a bumpy start, they eventually turned it on and looked really sharp. Jalen Hurts, despite a couple mishaps, did end up making some really good plays and just had an overall solid performance. And then defensively, I mean, the Eagles were just on another level as they absolutely shut down the Cowboys offense while making a statement to the rest of the league. And the defense started off their impressive day by forcing a 3-and-out after Darius Slay got a pass breakup on 3rd down, and then they followed it up by getting their first of what would wind up being many turnovers on the day, as Cooper Rush simply dropped what was a good snap by the center, and defensive tackle Milton Williams fell on it and set the Eagles offense up with great field position. And they capitalized after Saquon Barkley turned what looked like a negative play into a 1st and goal from the 1-yard line after he made several defenders miss on a 3rd and 6. And then Jalen Hurts pushed into the end zone on the brotherly shove to make it 7-0 in the first quarter. And by the way, this is now the 2nd time and the 2nd straight game that the Eagles have scored points in the first quarter, so it certainly seems like they are at least trending in the right direction on that front. Unfortunately though, what happened on the Eagles' next drive was something more reminiscent of their first 4 weeks of the season, as after Dallas answered with a field goal to make it 7-3, the Birds offense was driving again, and a 30-yard pass to A.J. Brown had them set up in the red zone with a chance to score another touchdown, but that came to an end on the next play when Jalen Hurts fired a pass to Dallas Goedert in the end zone, and Trayvon Diggs actually made a play on the ball and somehow came away with the interception. And what's even more unfortunate about this play is that Hurts seemed to have Grant Calcaterra wide open for the score on the left side, and he just didn't throw it to him, so this definitely was a big missed opportunity and mistake for Jalen on the offense. And after the game, Hurts was actually asked about what happened on this play.
I had him. Knew exactly what they were going to do. Had a good eye for it. The 7 just made a hell of a play. And much respect to him making a hell of a play. Tried to fit it in there. Could have got outside to Grant. Actually told Grant that was going to happen, and I didn't pull the trigger on it. So I own it.
Look, I know naturally a lot of people are going to want to make a big deal out of this because, you know, it was Hurts' first interception since week 3, and obviously early in the season, one of the big concerns with this Eagles team was Jalen Hurts' play and specifically his turnovers, so seeing him turn the ball over here and in the end zone wasn't exactly fun. That being said, though, I really just don't see any reason to worry about this play. Like, interceptions happen in the NFL, and sure, could he have put some more heat on the ball or maybe thrown it a little bit earlier, or also hit Calcaterra, which was surely his second read on that play? Yeah, he could have done any number of those things, but he threw to Goddard, who was open and was his first read, and honestly, I think Trayvon Diggs just made a great play on the ball that most defensive backs are not going to make, and that's just sometimes the way things go in the NFL. And luckily for Hurts, the defense had his back, as they forced a 3-and-out on the Cowboys' next drive, and then on the following drive after that, it did look like the Cowboys were going to score a touchdown or at least get some points before Zack Baun saved the day, as he oftentimes has this season, as the linebacker had a great hit on Ezekiel Elliott near the 5-yard line, which caused the ball to pop out, and the rookie Cooper DeJean came away with the recovery in the end zone. And not only was this Cooper DeJean's first time coming away with the defensive takeaway, but it was also linebacker Zack Baun's 3rd game in a row forcing a turnover, as he just continues to be an absolute beast for the Eagles defense this year. And what he's doing seems to be bringing other guys' energy as well, as Jalen Carter had this to say about Baun after the game.
Man, that boy balling, man. That boy really, he really a star. And I learned that he came from DN, now he's at middle linebacker, and I don't know how that transition is going, but from what I'm seeing, it's going good for him. So I'm proud of him, and he just got to keep going, keep it on the road. Because what he do is motivated me. You know, I'm celebrating with him every play. We having little talks of, what we see and stuff, but, I'm getting double. I see him flying down. He making tackles and tackles. He just balling.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta love that Baun seems to be motivating his teammates, and I also think this really just helps remind you how impressive this season has been for Zack Baun. Like, the guy is here on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal, and has not played off-ball linebacker in the NFL before in his career, yet he came to Philly, switched positions, and became an absolute star. So, again, it's just been so impressive what he's been able to do, and Nick Sirianni actually talked about Baun's progression after the game as well.
Man, he just keeps getting better. Wasn't a lot of plays that he had at inside linebacker coming into this. Like I said, I kind of gushed to you guys about Bobby King earlier this week and the job he's doing. And then that's the same thing with Nakobe getting everybody on the same page. Zach's a great athlete. He's tough. You see him in the open field making tackles. You see him sticking his face in there in tight quarters. You see him being able to rush. He's on a streak right now of taking the football away and the ball being on his mind. Just think he's a really good he's just a really good, best compliment I can give a guy is, man, that guy's a really good football player. And that happens when you're tough, you're physical, all detailed, and he's playing really fundamentally sound and just getting better every time he steps out in the field.
Yeah, so that's certainly some very high praise from Sirianni there, but it definitely is very much earned and justified. And in this game specifically, Baun earned it as he put up 8 tackles, a tackle for loss, and he was also involved with multiple turnovers, which we'll get to later in the game. But first, we unfortunately got to look at the Eagles' second of 2 turnovers by their offense in this game, and it came just a few plays after this forced fumble by Baun as Jalen Hurts dropped back on 2nd and 9, but was quickly pressured by Micah Parsons, and as Hurts tried to tuck the ball, Parsons was able to get his hand on it and punch it out, and a recovery by Dallas set them up already in a 1st and goal situation. So obviously this wasn't ideal, and it led to some more Hurts criticism as this was his 2nd turnover of the game and the first half after not having any in the previous 4 games. But honestly, while Hurts definitely does have to protect the ball here, and I'm not excusing that, I honestly just feel like this is another example of a great player in Micah Parsons making a great play, similarly to how I think Trayvon Diggs earlier just made a great play on the football on the interception. And I also think on the fumble specifically, Hurts got caught in a rough position as he was just trying to tuck the ball, and Parsons got his hand on it at the perfect moment, which is pretty much what Nick Sirianni said after the game.
That's one that's going to always be hard to do 2 hands on play. When you do 2 hands when you're stepping up in the pocket, you're moving in the pocket, and he had a couple like that. He was actually trying to get it tucked. One thing, the ball's at risk. Catch, tuck, the ball's at risk, right? Off the mesh, the ball's at risk because you have to get to your proper mechanics. And he was trying to, right here, try to get to his proper mechanics. That's when we tell our defense to kind of come after the ball in those sets. So he hadn't got to his proper mechanics yet, and that's, he has to be a passer and ready to throw. Then he goes to tuck it. I like that he went to tuck it. He's got to get his elbow locked a little bit quicker. That's tough to do in the heat of it. And then was it Micah who got it? He's a stud. It just didn't get there yet, and that happens. And a good player made a good play on the other team.
I don't know, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I'm just not going to freak out over 2 turnovers by Hurts that were largely just great plays by the defense, especially since he didn't have a single turnover in any of the past 4 games, so I do trust that he's going to get it cleaned up. Plus, it's hard to get too upset when the Eagles defense had his back, as they stopped Dallas from scoring a touchdown despite the fact that they began the drive on the Eagles' 5-yard line, and they forced a field goal, which made it a 7-6 game. And overall, the defense really just did a great job in the first half of keeping the Eagles in a good position in this one, despite a somewhat bumpy start for the offense with the turnovers and also with them struggling to handle the pass rush of the Cowboys, which, side note, I feel like if you do want to criticize Jalen, the thing that actually did bother me more about his first half performance was that he held onto the ball a bit too long at times, and it resulted in him getting sacked 5 times in the first half. But regardless of all that, you at least got to give Jalen credit for taking accountability for his shortcomings while also praising the defense for keeping them in it.
I mean, it's everything. It's complimentary ball in a sense. One phase of the team having the other phases back. And, I own that completely. I'm very aware of what was going on the play. He made a great catch. And then the other one just caught me at a bad moment. Had one hand on the ball, got to protect the ball better. So, always good when we can rally around those things and continue to persevere, be a resilient team, and move forward.
Yeah, again, just shout out to the Eagles defense for keeping them in this one early. And in regards to Jalen and the offense, it's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish. And safe to say, they did that in this one, as after the turnover, they responded in a big way, as Jalen Hurts and company drove 85 yards in 84 seconds, mainly due to some great plays by Hurts, both through the air and also on the ground at one point, and he capped it off with a really impressive play as he avoided pressure from the right side before rolling out and firing a pass to Dallas Cowboys, who caught it for the score to give the Eagles a 14-6 20-6 lead just before the half. And again, this was just a great play and a great response from Jalen Hurts after the fumble. And after the game, Nick Sirianni praised Hurts for his resiliency and his ability to put bad plays behind him.
Yeah, I thought he did a lot of good things. You know, obviously didn't start the way we wanted it to start, but there's something to be said for guys that can rebound and play a really good game after things don't go right early on. You know, we'll want some of those plays back. He'll want some of those plays back. But great job handling adversity, putting his head down, continuing to work. He moved on. Like, he didn't let one play affect the rest of his game. That's what winners do. That's what Jalen Hurts does. And I'm so accustomed to him doing that. I'm so proud of him, the fact that he was able to move on from a rough start and get it going.
I think it's safe to say that Hurts does do a really good job at just putting bad plays behind him and responding, and that's exactly what he did here on this really impressive touchdown drive. And after the game, he discussed this play as well.
That was actually, we didn't turn the protection to him, so he ended up coming free through the gap, and it was either I get the ball out or I make a play. I chose to make a play. And Dallas made a hell of a catch.
This was certainly just a great play by both players. And the other great thing about this play and this drive specifically at the end of the half is that it kickstarted the offense, and they didn't look back as they came out in the second half and pretty much dominated from then on. And that started on their second drive of the half, in which they started in great field position after an awesome 31-yard punt return by Cooper DeJean, as the offense got down into the red zone quickly before capping off a 7-play drive with a 5-yard touchdown pass from Jalen Hurts to their rookie Johnny Wilson, what was the wide receiver's first touchdown in the NFL. And this was also just a great play by Hurts to step up in the pocket and deliver a great throw with tight coverage. And also, of course, it was great to see Johnny Wilson catch his first touchdown in the NFL. And after the game, Johnny Wilson actually got to talk about what it was like to get his first touchdown, and he seemed pretty happy about it.
It was great. It's crazy. I had a whole celebration planned out, and one dude bumped into me. I'm like, you know what? Let me just celebrate with my team. They were happy. They brought the energy, and couldn't make me feel any happier.
Huge shout out to Wilson for just making the most of his opportunity when the ball did come his way, especially in a big moment. And the offense didn't stop there, as they started their very next drive with a bang, as Jalen Hurts launched a deep ball to A.J. Brown, who came down with the over-the-shoulder catch for 44 yards, and this was just a perfectly placed throw by Hurts to put it right in stride for A.J. to come down with, and it's honestly just insane how routine plays like this have become for these two. And that drive continued on, and it eventually resulted in Jalen Hurts faking a handoff to Saquon Barkley before pulling it and taking it up the middle himself for an 8-yard touchdown run that put the Birds up 28-6. And at this point, there was no question that the offense and Jalen Hurts had turned things around, as Jalen had 4 total touchdowns and the offense was really just in a groove. And overall, it was just another solid performance for the unit, even though they didn't play a fully complete game. Although it very well looks like they are trending towards that in the future, and Saquon Barkley seemed to think that that could be scary for the rest of the league.
That looked like if you guys haven't scratched the surface yet.
It's probably scary.
All I'm going to say is, if the Eagles offense can find a way to put together a fully complete game from start to finish, then the NFL better watch out. That being said though, the Eagles defense are the ones that actually did put together a fully complete performance in this one, and if they can keep it up, then the NFL should be afraid. And don't worry, we're going to talk about that and more in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and you don't want to miss any other Eagles coverage or content just like this coming throughout the rest of this season, then make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. Trust me, you guys are not going to want to miss any of the Eagles coverage or content I got coming on this channel. I cover the Birds pretty much daily here, so if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, then make sure you subscribe, and again, hit the notification bell. It takes 2 seconds and it's completely free, and the same goes for hitting the like button, so make sure you guys do that as well. Let's see if we can get to 800 likes on this video. And now, with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So following the Eagles' last touchdown drive, the Birds defense came away with their 3rd turnover of the game, as the much criticized Bryce Huff made his best play of the season after just being in trade rumors this past week, as he had a great move to get inside the right tackle before hitting Cooper Rush and knocking the ball loose, and who else but Zack Baun recover the football. So shout out to Bryce Huff for making this play and just continuing to get better as the year has gone on. And the Eagles defense also wasn't done yet, as they forced another fumble on the Cowboys' next drive, with Zack Baun making yet another amazing play to cause Jake Ferguson to cough the ball up, and Reed Blankenship recovered it. And again, just shout out to Zack Baun for being absolutely everywhere and being a big big part of 3 of the Eagles' takeaways in this game. Oh, and by the way, the Eagles defense still wasn't done forcing turnovers yet, as after Trey Lance had subbed into the game for Dallas, he threw the ball deep on their next drive to Jalen Tolbert, and Gardner-Johnson came up with his second interception on the year in what was just a really good play by him and reminiscent of what we saw in 2022. And overall, that pick made it 5 forced turnovers by the Eagles defense in this game, all while not even allowing 1 touchdown. I mean, it was just an absolutely unreal and dominant showing by Vic Fangio's unit. And sure, you can say Dak Prescott wasn't playing, but still, this was just another level of dominance by the Eagles defense, and something that I think deserves a ton of credit. And after the game, multiple guys, including Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, gave that to the defense, and really just everybody had super high remarks for the defense's performance after that one.
Hell of a performance by the defense. So I'm going to keep it rolling while it's hot, you know, and just the way that they've been able to play, the intensity, been able to take the ball over and get the ball back. And it's always good when we can take advantage of those opportunities as well. So just need that same intensity.
I think the defense has done a really nice job. They played a great game today. They started fast. They played great throughout the entire game. We tackled. I love when we tackle well, and we really did a good job taking the football away and having the football on our mind. And so, you know, good start by them, good performance by them all the way through.
I mean, we had, 5 takeaways? I mean, yeah, we haven't had 5 takeaways in a minute, so yeah. Being able to take the ball away and, you know, got everybody having fun, everybody eating, I mean, you had most of the stars sit out by the full quarter. I mean, I ain't did that since high school.
We got 5 turnovers, you know, and our goal was to get more and more turnovers. And coaches told us that, you know, it's going to happen. You know, we ain't got to rush it. It's going to happen. And to find out we had 5, you know, that's a big accomplishment. And try to get 7 next week.
We came up big in some moments where it could have went the other way, especially on defense. When offense gave up two turnovers, and you know, I think we just. The best thing I could say, we just stayed the course, and we stayed focused on just doing our job, not worrying about what happened in the game, but just worrying about this is the stop that we need to make. Let's go make it.
Yeah, safe to say the Eagles defense was just amazing in this game, and they really do deserve just so much credit for continuing to improve as the season has gone on. I mean, through the first 4 weeks, things were looking pretty rough from the outside, all things considered, but since that bye week, man, they have turned it on and they have not looked back, to the point where they're now dominant against the run and the pass. They generate a ton of pressure on the quarterback, and probably most crucial of all, they are forcing turnovers at an extremely high rate, especially in this last game. And if they can sustain this level of play, that's just a scary thing for the rest of the NFL, especially with the offense continuing to find their footing as well. And overall, I just thought this was a really good win, and a statement win at that. I mean, this is the 3rd game out of the Eagles' last 4 where they have straight up dominated. The defense again had their best performance of the year, and offensively, there were a lot of great things as well, and I still think they can get even better. And the best thing about this win is that the Eagles now are leading their division after the Commanders took a close loss this week, and now they will prepare to face that same Commanders team in just a few short days on Thursday Night Football, and what's probably their biggest game of the season so far. And you guys already know that I'm going to be covering everything leading into that matchup, as well as just all the other Eagles news throughout the rest of this entire season. So again, if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. And also, again, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like to show some support on this video if you did enjoy it. I would greatly appreciate it because it really does help me out a ton. Again, let's see if we can get to 800 likes today. And also, leave a comment down below. What were your thoughts on the Eagles win over the Cowboys this week? And also, if you do want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.